Well, in some ways they did exactly what we expected, and in other ways they went a step further. So here's today's banned and restricted announcement. So as of today, which is interesting because this is written, or I guess published there, New Zealand time, but today, either way, as of today, Bonds of Agony is banned. No more. And I don't know why I didn't think that part through, but this makes even more sense than them just removing Take Up the Mantle, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But Golden Tipple Red and Yellow are banned. So not only are they taking one of the sources away from Gravy Bones and as far as making gold, they're taking two of those sets. That's crazy. Plume of Evergrowth is banned. Plume is now no more. That was something that a lot of people talked about. Talk a Big Game is preemptively banned. And then Germinate is unbanned. I'm just going to say, I think that is going to go poorly. I think that's going to be very interesting. Maybe I'm way off base. I don't play enough Florian to maybe have a dog in the fight, but that strikes me as quite good for Florian. I don't know. Maybe Florian needs to be back in the meta and sitting back on top. But I'll tell you right now, I was happy to not see Runeblade after Runeblade after Runeblade at the top of the meta, but that might change after Germinate. So I think this was a really good write-up across the board. They talk about how there's a multitude of reasons for why you would go about adjusting the meta through bans and restrictions. And some of those are very clearly seen in this change. I think they say that like all of them are trying to be employed here. And I think some of them are easier to be seen right off the bat than others. But first things first, I didn't call Bonds of Agony. I would have expected, them removing Take Up the Mantle, because Take Up the Mantle is the card that makes you feel the most like, well, you just got absolutely blown out because they drew that card and you didn't play around it. But why that is the case is often because that card goes and turns something into a Bonds of Agony, right? And it double dips basically on the effects of both of those cards. In doing so, Bonds of Agony being removed from the format means that you have to target something else. And of course, there are good assassin targets in the various decks, right? You can go and get the 0 for 4 that blows at the arsenal that I can't think of off the top of my head right now. Leave No Witnesses, that's what it's called. You're welcome. That's why we're the pros. You could also go and get any of the 0 for 3s. You can smash those in there. You can get the 0 for 1 blue Persuasive Prognosis if you wanted to. And then of course there's still Kiss of Death, which is a great grab and what will probably be grabbed by Arachne Marionette going forward, right? But this is a fantastic way to bring the power level of the assassins down just a bit. Maybe more than just a bit. I think maybe this could have also been them removing just a Nick. That could have been something that you do. But just hitting Bonds of Agony, I think will make players a lot happier because that card was just crap. It was ridiculous. It didn't feel good to play against. It made you do a bunch of math that you were like not happy about. I mean, doing math is not the big problem, but doing math that you could just be wrong about. Like, okay, I'll block 7 to play around this breakpoint, and then they just give it go again and move on with their lives. It's like, great, cool. I understand that assassins like can do that and they can trick you, but like they trick you and then they punish you in another way, and then they also draw more cards, and then they also like just rip apart your deck size. I mean, they did too much, and Bonds was one of those contributing factors. Now, Golden Tipple Red and Yellow. This is crazy. I was not expecting this. If it were me, I would have put money down that they would take like red or blue Swell and blue Golden Tipple, if anything. But taking red and yellow Golden Tipple instead of those two cards is quite intriguing. Now, it makes some sense, and I think it's very well written. Brian Gottlieb does a great job of writing this up. It makes some sense to take both of those cards, right? Because those are 6 out of the 9 ways that you have to make gold on the face of it. And you leave the blue, which is the most impactful, so the deck could possibly still function. And of course, you still have blue port side exchange as well. Oh man, this is gonna be interesting to see if this deck survives. That much gold generation being taken. Remember, That's how you make gold. And then, like, of course, your hook attack hitting is also how you make or steal gold. And that's about it. That's like, there's not a lot of other ways to make gold in this deck. And if you are looking to actively discard your allies from hand to actually play out any semblance of a turn whatsoever, it's kind of hard to do that if you can't activate your hero ability because you don't have gold. So it'll be really intriguing to see where this deck goes. I was already messing around with the possibility that they remove like swells and maybe one set of tipples. And in doing so, I was putting in the Jittery Bones package and the Restless Bones package again, which I actually very much enjoy playing the deck that way because it feels like you're attacking with like other allies. It feels very like you're a necromancer raising stuff up because that's the art. But that's thematic. Is it successful? That's the question that we should ask ourselves, and we will find out very quickly. They also talk about how this hits Marlin. And yeah, it does. I played Marlin a couple of weeks ago. I was playing her for a stint, and this is definitely going to make it even worse for her. That being said, she needs more than just tipples to be good, and that's exactly what they say as well. Plume, a lot of people were talking about Plume. I don't know. I wasn't as deep into them going and banning Plume, but it makes sense. It's fine. Rampant Growth Life, being able to fetch a 6 damage burn spell with Plume and then try to just win the game deterministically when your opponent's at 9. I get it. I get that. That's kind of what Wizards do. So I don't know. To me, it's fine. It is what it is. Like, this is a good change. I think people were clamoring for it, and I think it's a fine thing. They preemptively banned Talk a Big Game because there's possibly a degenerate deck, similar to how they did it with Zephyr Needle. There's a degenerate deck that could do some weird stuff with Talk a Big Game. By the way, for those that don't know, Talk a Big Game, and I think I have the crop on my picture here kind of bad. I will try to zoom in and see if, nope, it will not let me do anything related. No, I can't even do that. Good Lord. Can I open this in a new tab? There it is, Talk a Big Game. Talk a Big Game says choose a number. The next time you deal that much or more attack damage to a hero, they create that many might tokens, and then you just kind of go crazy with it. Why can't I just... Man, this is why we can't have nice things. Anyway, it's a Brute Guardian block 3, and I don't know. Maybe our 5 intellect hero coming up was the hero that possibly broke that wide open. And then Germinate. This is interesting. So this is the one that I'm really kind of curious about. It says, we intend to return Germinate to Florian's card pool. We still believe Germinate and Everbloom Life might give Florian one of the best in-games in all of Flesh and Blood. Yeah. But with Gravy Bones catching nerfs, a secondary predator for those heroes looking to go extra deep into second and third cycles should prove to be a healthy thing for the metagame. So that is contingent upon Guardians getting better with the banning of Gravy Bones. It very well could be a banning of Gravy Bones. Like literally you've taken his legs out from under him to some degree. It'll be really interesting to see if there's another way to build and play him and have him find success. It'll be very fun to find out, actually. But with him basically going away to some degree, Guardians could come up as an answer to all of these redline aggro decks, specifically heroes like Jarl that can both hit them with crush effects and also apply frostbites and tax them. You can just murder the field. And if there are decks that want to do that and take the game very long, this makes sense. Okay, I understand that. We'll see. We'll see if it has the legs to do exactly that and nothing more. That's going to be the really interesting point. But I'm excited about all of that because changing all of this stuff in CC means that we have a fresh metagame. We get the opportunity to see what could happen. And honestly, if it doesn't work, I trust LSS to say, yeah, forget that. Let's bring back the yellow golden tipple and let's ban Germinate. Or let's go, and do something different. I think that I like the idea, and they talked about it early. I think I forget where they talked about it with regards to their philosophy regarding adjustments about doing it more often. I would love to see them do this more often. If they run this for like a month and it's not working, change it. LSS can do that, man. That's cool. I really, really like that. So it'll be a fun time to watch to see if these decks survive or if they, absolutely murder other decks and what happens in the meta. Also, Blitz, Talk a Big Game is banned because the future holds something terrifying in the wings. And then in Living Legend, Deadwood Dirge is unrestricted. Deadwood Dirge is the one that pops a rune chant and then makes 2 in its replacement, which is interesting. So Chain was being brought down, and then now they are kind of splashing this in to try and bring Viscerai back up. So that's a pretty interesting one. Next time we get one of these announcements is Monday, November 3rd. But I will just say that I do think that if this doesn't stick, like if these changes are maybe too heavy-handed or warps the metagame a little more than LSS intends, I would expect them to make some change before this. So whether that ends up happening or not, I think this is an exciting change, and the future might be in very, very good hands. Even though the meta is already looking pretty fun and pretty exciting and pretty interesting, we might have something else on the timeline. Either way, let me know what you think about these changes in a comment below. And of course, as always, everybody, thanks for watching.